Hey everyone, welcome back. I want to show you property histories of homes that actually did close in the past couple months in Palm Beach Gardens. So look at this beautiful home in the Old Palm Golf Course community. So back in 2012, they bought the land for $1,100,000, and then they built a 13,000 square foot home, the one you're looking at, and they just closed at close to 10 million. Now, my guess is to build a home like this, 13,000 square feet, you're going to invest probably 4 million to build the home. So if they paid 1 million for the lot, 4 million to build the home, they made a $5 million profit selling it just this past month. 5 million. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, let's go to the next one. This one is also in Old Palm. Very nice, right? So this one sold for 7 million. So we want to see the history. Detail, history. Okay. So this one closed in 2014 at 1,900,000. The question is, was the house built yet, or was that just the land? Sorry for the slow internet. Yeah, it's just the land. Okay. Yeah, AT&T is not my favorite, but I'm in a rental now because I'm not going to buy yet in this crazy market. So, all right, so they purchased the land for 1,950,000 in 14, and 7 years later, they sold it for 7 million. Now, how many square feet is the house they put up? 8,800 square foot house. Let's say they spent 3 million on building the house. So they still made 2 million when they sold it. That's pretty good, right? So anyway, let's go down to the next one. This one's 5,800,000, also in Old Palm Golf Course community. And let's just sneak a peek how the other half lives. Just for kicks, I guess, right? Okay, there you go. Very fancy. Little rustic, but fancy, right? Okay, anyway. So let's look at the history on this house. Detail, history. They tried to sell it at 13 million in 2015, and they couldn't sell it at 13 million. But they did sell it at 5 million in 2021. We don't know. Do we know how much they paid for it? I have to go into the tax information. Maybe it'll show there, because this one just doesn't show it. Wow, look how much their taxes are. 90,000 in 2020. Okay, that shows the recent sale. Okay, so when they bought the house, it was 1,800,000, according to the deed in 2009. So they made like almost 4 million profit selling this house, assuming, it's not that old. I don't think they put much money into the home, but who knows? Anyway, let's go to, I can't pronounce that, Lucandra Court, also in Old Palm. I'll go straight to the history. So it closed in 2016 at 3,400,000, and then looks like they made a clean million from 16 to 21. So 5 years, they made $1 million, and they got to live in this gorgeous house. Let's see it. So that's how you live. You live in a beautiful home for 5 years, and you make $1 million on the way out. All right. So anyway, here is a $4 million home. And, oh, look at that. It has its own boat dock. We have to look at this one. So for $4 million, it's probably the location that got them the $4 million, because the house is just okay. I wouldn't say it was elaborate. So detail. They sold it for, they listed it for $4,199,000. They sold it for $4,144,000. Let's go to the history. What did they pay for it? They bought the house at $1 million in 2015. So they made $3,144,000 profit in 6 years. Okay, let me just make sure I know what I'm talking about in case it was just land. Was the house built yet? Bring your boat. Original home on outstanding lot. Okay, so the home was already built. Let me just see what, are they going to show you what it looked like when they bought it at $1 million? It says original. Oh, okay, here's the home when they bought it at $1 million. So they probably did some updating. Go back to detail. And so this is, wait, where's the history? History. Now, from $1 million, you saw the pictures. Let's see what the $4 million sale looked like. How much renovating did they do? Photos. Well, structurally, the home is still the same, right? They probably just put in new flooring and paint and just cosmetic things. So that was a good profit, right? Okay. Now, back to our list. $3.7 million. They closed at just under $2 million in 2004. So they made $1.7 million over 7 years. What did it look like before? Let's see. Nope, they're not going to show us. Sorry about that. But this is what it looks like now. I think because my son is playing video games, my signal's a little slow. Sorry about that. He's addicted. Oh, beautiful. I could totally live here. What about you? Wow, right? That's actually a good deal for $3.7 million. The house is gorgeous, 5,800 square feet. Are you curious what the taxes are? Because I am. Something's wrong here. How could $23,000 is the taxes. Something's fishy. It should be a lot more than that for a house that size, wouldn't you think? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. what the deal is with that. But anyway, let's go to the next one. In Bay Village Court, $3 million this closed at. Prosperity Bay Village, 267 is the HOA. Photos. How could this be like close to the same price as the other house? It's really not even comparable, right? All right, let's look at detail. History. Okay, so it looks like they bought the land for $400,000 in 1998. I'm assuming that's just land because of the price. And then in 2019, somebody bought it for $1 million. Less than 2 years later, they sold it for $3 million. So they tried to get $2 million for in 2000. In April they tried to get $2 million for, and they canceled it after 146 days. They didn't get $2 million for, but they took advantage of the market changing, and 2 months later, they raised the price to $3 million, and they got it because of this crazy market. Can you believe that? And a lot of people are buying homes in Florida sight unseen from out of state and even out of the country. So they don't really know much about the neighborhoods or anything. And neighborhoods in this area can go from one extreme to the other. And people are just saying, yeah, I'll take it. What price do you want? Okay. So this one, almost $3 million it closed at in Ballin Isles Country Club. Here's the history. So this one actually, it closed at $3,040,000. They actually took a loss on this one. How does that happen? The only thing I can think of is maybe the HOA went up. So when they bought it at $2.9 million, the HOA was $474 a month, right? So back to history. So that was also in 2021. All right, no, 2021. Here we are. The HOA $480. I'm not sure why this is the only home taking a loss. I mean, not a big loss, but why didn't they make a killing like everybody else? Oh man, my son is playing video games. I'm sorry about the slow signal. So anyway, yeah, it's a beautiful home. Why did they sell it for less than they paid? I guess, some sellers are about timing and some are about price. So as an investor myself, the important thing is if you want to make a killing on a flip, you look for the sellers that are about timing, not about price, right? How do you do that? Well, I go on the MLS and I search under keywords in the broker to broker remarks. I'll search things like seller motivated, search terms like that in the private broker remarks, and that's how I pull up homes where timing is more important than price. So when I'm looking to invest, it's a good strategy. There's other search terms that you can use too to get the type of seller that you want, right? So that was pretty to look at. So back to my list. Here's one on Edward Road, $2.3 million. And they sold it at $905. So the person bought it in 2016 at $905,000. 5 years later, they're selling it for $2.3 million. We have to see the difference. Okay, so Let me get rid of that. This was the old listing when they bought it at $905,000. It's only a 3.2, built in 98. Must be the location, because it's just an ordinary house, right? It's got a nice lakefront. Look at that. So people that have boats, they'll pay to live where they can park their boat right outside. Okay, so 905. Let's see what changed to make it go all the way from 905 to 2.3 million, if anything. All right. Oh, I meant to go here. Sorry. All right. So what changed? Nothing really. So somebody just made a killing and didn't really change much. The house is still a small 3.2, but the buyer wanted a place to park his boat. So he was willing to pay $1.5 million more than the seller paid. Okay, so let's go to $2,250,000 in Mallard Creek. Somebody paid $440,000 for it in 2000. Then somebody paid $700,000 for it in 2003. $1 million in 2005. And now someone paid $2 million in 2021. $2,250,000. So let's look at how it went from. It went over $1 million in price in such a short time. This is the older photos. I think, what was it, 2008? Okay. Looks like they have a horse stable on the property. Okay, so here it's a 5-bedroom, 4-bath. So they closed at $1.1 million. And that was, back to the history, that was in 2008. So 13 years later, it went up over $1 million. And let's look at the photos, see if anything changed. The size is still the same. Well, they did some nice renovations though. But nice way to make a couple million, right? All right, so trying to go back to my list here. Okay, now let's go to, this is a $2 million property. In 2005, they paid $1.6 million. And again, in 2015, $1.6 million it closed at. And they tried to get $1.9 million in 2021, April, but they couldn't get that in April of 2021. But in June of 2021, they actually raised the price and got it. Goes to show you what kind of a crazy market we're in. So that's let's go to this one, $1,875,000. They tried to get $1.5 million in 2009, canceled. $1.4 million canceled. $1.2 million canceled. somebody paid 1 million in 2021, February of 2021. And then they, in the same year, 5 months later, they're selling it for 800 and something thousand more. So it sold at $1.8 million. Let's see what the difference is in the property. Okay, in the history, how did they make 800,000? This is what it looked like. Originally, at 1 million. Did they do anything to it, or did they just flip it for 800,000 as is the question. Pretty, right? Nice home. Okay, now back to detail, back to history. So $800,000 later, what did the house look like? Did they make any changes to it? And, oh, it's in Frenchman's Reserve. Beautiful community. So if you're going to live in a country club and you have children or grandchildren, I recommend Frenchman's Reserve. Wow, they did a beautiful job. So they earned their flip on this one. It's gorgeous. But so if you have children and you want to live in a country club community, Frenchman's Reserve is better than the others because they actually have like a clubhouse just for kids. They cater to kids, so they won't be bored here. Even if you have just visiting grandchildren, they're going to have a good time. All right, so out of that one. And so this one's $1.8 million. It closed at from 860 in 2012. 9 years later, they made $1 million. So what did it look like when it was 860,000? And this is in Mirasol Country Club. So 594 was the HOA then. We also should compare that, right? Photos. So not the best photography, but you get the gist of it, right? Okay. So $1 million later, what did it look like? Let's see if they put any money into it or if they just made a clean million. So people are always asking me, how come you never get in front of the camera? Well, this is about you, not about me. And also I'm a little camera shy. But if you click the like button every now and then, that might encourage me to get in front of the camera. Get over my camera shyness, right? So, very nice home. Looks like they did do some updating. All right. Okay, back to my list. So this one's $1.8 million in Woods Muir. Closed at $1.3 million in 18. 3 years later, $1.8 million. So how did they make 500,000 in only 3 years? What did it look like? Let's see. 5,000 square feet, pretty big, right? 4.2. Really no work needed in this house. I think they just probably just made a clean 500,000 in 3 years. But we'll see what they did. Detail, history. Let's see what it looked like 500,000 later in only 3 years. No, really not much was done. It was already in good condition. Okay. Nice home though, right? And that's how you make 500,000 in 3 years. Let's go back to the list and go here. Okay, someone paid $1,000,001 in 2020. 1 year later, sold it for $1,008,000. So how do you make $700,000 in 1 year? Well, let's look at the pictures. Last year, very nice. They couldn't have done much to it. I mean, it's already gorgeous. Maybe. I have to see if they changed the kitchen cabinets or not. All right, let's see what they did to it to make 500,000, if anything. In 1 year now, come on, 500,000. Oh, they're not going to show you. Oh, they only have one photo up. Oh well, that was a good price. I guess they didn't want you to see what they did or did not do. All right, let me get rid of too many screens here. Sorry about the crappy editing. I will get better. Give me time. Anyway, so somebody paid 700,000 for this home in 2016. 5 years later, they made 900,000 more. Okay, so let's look at the report. 900,000 in 5 years. Okay. This is in Mirasol, a golf club community, like right across the street from PGA National. Oh, I like the L-shaped pool. That's pretty cool. Maryland. Okay. I always love lakefront homes. I think my next home is going to be lakefront for sure. Only because I'm not going to buy now and be stuck with whatever scraps or leftovers nobody wanted because the inventory is so low. I'm going to wait. Just like, when they had that Marshmallow Test. Look at that. $1 million profit in 5 years. So the Marshmallow Test, they gave kids one marshmallow on a plate in a room and left them alone. And they said, if you eat this marshmallow now, you don't get a second one in a few minutes. But if you wait, we're going to bring you a second marshmallow. And some of the kids just didn't have what it takes to wait. And they just had to eat that marshmallow now. And then other kids said, no, I'm going to wait. And I'm going to get that second marshmallow. And they did that to test kids to see what their future was going to be like. Like how much self-control they have and, how they'll succeed based on that. So that was done like many years ago. But I feel like I'm being marshmallow tested now. Do I buy a home now or wait and get twice the home? So I decided to wait and get twice the home because I have a feeling a crash is coming real soon. So in 2009, they paid $1,300,000 for this house, and then they sold it for $1,700,000, almost $400,000 profit. Do we care what it looked like before? Oh wow, it's big, right? San Michelle is really, really nice. The homes there, I've showed them before. They're just beautiful with the tall ceilings. So, I mean, the photography is terrible on this one. You know, how do you list a house like this and not hire a photographer? I don't get it. But so that was when it was 1,000,003, and then now 1,000,008. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, no, no, no. Sorry. Why is this one coming up? I'm clicking the wrong one. Sorry about that. Let me get rid of that. History. Okay, so they made 400,000, and this is what it looked like when they sold it. Did they do anything? They painted the exterior. Oh, they're not going to show us pictures. That sucks. Okay, so this one was 1,680,000. I'll try and go quicker. I don't want to bore you. 1,680,000. They paid 1,003,000. Sold it for 1,680,000. They made a clean 300,000 on this one. Next one, 1,600,000. They paid for it. Look at this, 2 months apart. From 1,600,000 to 2,600,000 in 2 months. All right, this one, I'm sorry, we have to look at this one. How do you make $1 million in 2 months? Let's see if they made any changes to the property. Oh, this is in Alton, which is fairly new, built in 2016. So what could they have possibly changed if it's fairly new construction? Very artsy fartsy. Yeah, I get it. Now, that was 1,600,000. And what did you do to it to make it worth $1 million more? Or are you just taking advantage of the dry market? Okay, they painted the exterior maybe? I mean, it's new construction. What could they have possibly done? Nothing. It's still the same looking to me anyway. All right. That was a good deal, whoever you are. Do we care? Yeah, let's see who made $1 million in 2 months. Should we look? Ah, the owner is the LLC of Alton. Strange, huh? You know what all right, so the person who bought it was Alton itself. Are they trying to drive their prices up by getting higher comps? By paying $1 million more 2 months later to drive the comps up? That's what this tells me. Unless I'm wrong. If you're the owner of the development and you pay $1 million more for a property, you're driving your own comps up, I would think, right? Is that legal? I don't know. I could be wrong. So let's just leave that alone. But I know builders like to drive their comps up higher because then they can keep selling higher without having a problem of the appraisal coming in low, right? All right. See no evil, hear no evil. Back to my list. Okay, this is on Holly Lane, 1,000,005. It just closed at. In 2007, it closed at 1,000,002. And then someone closed in 2019 at 950,000. And so they made over 600,000 profit in 2 years on this one. Not too shabby, right? Here's another one, Alton, $1.5 million. So it closed at 823. In 18, and then sold for $1,575,000 in 21. Who should I look? I'm scared. Is it the Alton development themselves driving their comps up? No, it's an actual person. Okay, an actual person bought it and paid $800,000 more than the previous buyer in 2018. Okay, Donald Ross Road, $1.5 million. So this was in 2018. Less than 3 years ago, somebody made a clean $200,000 on that one. Here's one for $1.5 million. Okay, somebody made, oh no, we don't know what they paid for the property, but they sold it for $1.5 million. I don't know why I clicked that one. If we don't have a complete history, I'll just move on. Marina Gardens Drive, $1.4 million. So they closed at $1 million in 2016. 5 years later, $1.4 million. So they made a clean $400,000, and they got to live in an awesome home. So, you got to know when to buy. And every time you make a home purchase, it's changing your financial status, like how much money you're going to have to retire on, because you made the right decisions buying and selling at the right time, right? It's very important. I always tell my buyers that. So, we live in an apartment now and it sucks, but I can buy twice the home if I wait. Pretty sure, because I know the crash is coming soon. So, on this one, nothing really remarkable on that one. Let's go to the next one. Okay, this one is in 2018. They paid $757,000 and they sold it for $1,375,000 in less than 3 years. They made $500,000 in less than 3 years. Sneak a peek. And it's a 2.5, almost 3,000 square feet. Oh, also in Alton. Okay. Very pretty. Alton is nice. I've shown homes there before. Back to detail. So to make $500,000 in Alton, I am kind of curious. I want to make sure the developer didn't buy the property just to drive the comps up. No, it's an actual person. Okay, sorry about that. And okay, history. What could they have done to it? It's a fairly new property. So they bought it like new at $757,000, sold it for $500,000 more in 3 years, and the house was already in perfect shape. So they just bought at the right time to make a $500,000 profit in 3 years. Timing is everything. Like Kenny Rogers says, right? You gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Did I earn a like on that? Okay, never mind. That's it. Here's one for $1.3 million. Closed at $585,000 in 2001. Closed at 7/15 in 2020. Oh, look at that. Not even a year. Look how much money they made, not even a year. About 700,000. Look at that. Grand K. It's in PGA National. Not even a year. Come on now. All right, let's look at the photos. Mm-hmm. It's okay. Your average Florida home. Okay, maybe they did do something. I'm guessing they probably did something about the wallpaper. Okay. So that's when they bought it at 7/15. Detail, history. So, to make your 700,000, what did you do in a year? Well, you definitely took better photos, that's for sure. Not impressed. Everything's still the same. So that was a good investment, whoever did that, right? 700,000 in 1 year? All right. So here's Siesta Way. They paid $885, sold it for $625. In 13, they took a bit of a loss from 7 to 13. And then it sold $765 and 15. 6 years later, they made over $500,000 profit on this one in Mirasol. I'm just curious. The HOA is $773 here. Was it always that high? Let's go to the older listings. Because that affects your price too. If the HOA is higher, people are not going to. Whoa. The HOA here was $1,762 in 2007. It actually went lower a lot. But you know what that could be? So in Mirasol, you have to buy into the golf course. So maybe they had a higher HOA instead of buying into the golf course. So let's go to 2015. Now in 2015, you're paying $90,000 to buy equity into the golf course, and it's mandatory. But that drove the HOA down to $600. So it cut the HOA in half. Okay. So from 636, yeah, that's what it was. Okay, so back to my listings. Are we getting close to the end? No. If I'm boring you, just move forward. 692 in 2019, closed at 1,300,000. 2 years later, less than 2 years later. All right, almost doubling their money in less than 2 years. So what did it look like when they bought it? Oh, another Alton home. Better not be the builder buying these houses up. No, it's a person. Okay. Okay, so this is from 2019, right? And it's going to be the same because this is fairly new construction. It was built in 2019, so brand spanking new. They paid $692, and then they sold it in less than 2 years for $1,300,000, taking advantage of the dry market. Because there's not much you can do to these homes. I mean, they're new already and they're townhomes, so I don't know. Just taking advantage of this market is all they're doing. And one concern I do have that I don't know if anyone else noticed this, but a lot of our real estate is being bought by people in like other countries. And I mean, a lot, as if they're trying to drive our inventory down even further. I don't know. Maybe I'm being paranoid, but there's a massive amount of foreigners buying our real estate. And I thought about it. China is one of the biggest. So I thought about why would China want to buy so much of our real estate? And I thought about, well, maybe they want to own property here so that they can say their products were made in the USA and not in China. Or maybe since China is our enemy now, maybe they're trying to sabotage us. Who knows? If buyers can't buy homes here because there's no inventory, where are they going to go? You know what I mean? So anyway, just a thought I had. I could be way off base on that, but so 855, this closed at an 18, and less than 3 years later, they made 500,000 on this home. In Mirasol. Well, the HOA went all the way down to 484 now. Still 90,000 to buy into the golf course. Wonder why Mirasol's less now. Usually HOAs go up, not down. Okay, so here we are. This is Mirasol Golf Community. Very nice homes here. Not that large, but nice. Okay. So that's when it was 855. And I mean, what could they have possibly done to the house? The house was gorgeous, right? So back to the history. Now at $1,000,003, what does it look like? They made 500,000. Did they do anything to earn it, or just live in it for 5 years? Oh, they're not going to show us. I guess they don't want us to know. That's okay. We'll go to the next one. And this one is $1,000,003. They paid $650 in 19, and 2 years later, they're making a killing at $1,000,003. And let's see. Oh, another Alton property. Sorry, I have to just peek. Who owns it? Okay, real person. History. So this is just a easy flip. What could you possibly do to a brand new construction and built in 2019 in 2 years? So you just made yourself a clean $500,000 or more and did nothing. So you just took advantage of the market, which is what a lot of people are doing now. You don't want to be a buyer now. So the steeplechase, very nice. It's, west more, and you get a lot of land here. You could have horses. So somebody paid $550 in 2014, and less than 7 years later, $1,000,002. What did it look like? Just a typical Brady Bunch house. Looks like a Brady Bunch ranch. No, they're not going to show us. So we have no idea what the inside looked like. Did they renovate it? Maybe. Let's see what it looks like now. Nope. They want to be secretive. Okay, we can't see. All right, so let's go to 1,100,000 home. 1,172 it just closed at. They tried to sell it at $839 and they canceled it after 231 days. But now they sold it for $1,172,000. So 400,000 more than what they canceled it for because they couldn't sell it. We should definitely look at these pictures. All right, so this one, what year are we? 2021. This is what it looks like now. Nice photography. you know, sometimes photography really makes a difference. And you could just do a flip without doing renovations, just having better photography. Nice staircase, right? So investors know when you see ugly photography, they didn't invest in a good photographer. That's a house you want to look at because you're not going to have as many bidders because of the photography being cheesy. All right, so that's what it looks like now. Now, if we go to the history, before they made their 400,000, what did it look like? Okay, yeah, they did some updating, all right. All right, we're going to give them a pass on this. Yeah, it looks older here. So back to my list. Sonesta Cove Drive, $1,000,001. They paid $770 in 2017. $1,150,000 is what they sold it for. Less than 4 years later. And this is in Ballin Isles Country Club. When they paid $770, the HOA was $536 a month in 2017. Photos. Very nice. Wow. I like that. The high ceilings. Okay. That was $770. Are they just taking advantage of the market, or did they really put money into the house to make 400,000? Any photos? What did they do? Oh, they painted. Somebody likes blue. Oof. You could tell the age of people by their decor sometimes. Okay. Now this is an Evergreen, $1,000,001. That's a high price for Evergreen. Look at that. They paid $545 for this house in 2014 and sold it for $1,150,000 7 years later. Huh. And there's not much you can really do to these homes. They were just taking advantage of this market, I think. Evergreen is a nice community there. Oh, okay. They definitely painted, I'm sure. It's a great community for families raising children because they have a separate clubhouse just for kids and so much to do in Evergreen for kids. So yeah, it looks like this was a fixer-upper. So we'll give them that. But yeah, they still made a good profit here. Let's see what they did to it. So some of the homes in Evergreen are near the railroad tracks, though, and you have to know where not to buy in Evergreen because if a train goes by, your house is going to shake. But they do have great amenities and clubhouses. Look at this. I think this is the main clubhouse, and this is the children's clubhouse. I think that's what it is. All right, so there's really not much you can do. You know, they just did some cosmetic updating and made 400 grand. Not too shabby, right? You know, it's really cheap to paint, change flooring and stuff like that. So when you look at homes, you got to try to Gotta try to like look past the cosmetics because it's so inexpensive to fix the cosmetics. So anyway, 600,000 in 2017, and they sold it for 500,000 more in 2021. Less than 4 years later. What did it look like? So they made 100,000 a year profit. And let's look at the photos. Okay, I bet they got rid of that wallpaper. Detail, history, what did they do to it to make a clean 500 in such short a time? See if you could guess how much they put into the house. Oh, pretty kitchen, wow. Gas stove, beautiful. I want to get a closer look at the kitchen. Because these counters look a little cheap. See the seam here? They might have went cheap on the counters. But I'm not an expert. Okay, so they definitely did some renovations. Okay. But it paid off big time for them, right? Detail, history. Okay, back to my list. 1,000,001 in Cayman Place. Wow. All right, somebody bought it for $463 in 2015. Then someone bought it for $652 in 2017. Now, 4 years later, 1,100,000. So they made a clean 500,000 in 4 years. And let's see the before and after, I guess. Photos. You got to be curious if they put any money into it to make that money. Clean 500,000. Okay, terrible photography. Oh my gosh. All right, no. So the investor took advantage of the poor photography and got himself a good deal because probably the photos turned people off. Could be my guess. I'm just speculating. All right, so that was $652. Now, 500,000 later, what did it look like? Come on now, you can open. I can hear my son playing his video game, slow my signal down. I have to apologize for that. Well, let me close these windows while we're waiting. Come on. This ain't right. Hold on. I'm going to go kick his ass and come back. And here you have it. I'm back. So, he claims he wasn't playing video games, but we know he was. Oh, they did a beautiful job. Wow. Look at that. Looks like they got a professional decorator in here. So I have to apologize for the poor editing, but I try and make it up in content. You know? And then one day, when I have enough subscribers, I'll get inspired and hire a professional editor to do my videos. But right now, it's like I have to, go show houses also. So for now, it's going to just be the real deal. Okay, let's go back to the list. This is Alston Road. Someone paid $700,000 in 2019. Actually, a little over 2 years later, they sold it for $375,000 more. So they made themselves $100,000 a year, and they got to enjoy the property for 3 years. And oh, Marlwood Estates in PGA National. This is a gated community where they have the golf tournaments, and there's 30 subdivisions. Like Marlwood is just one of 30 subdivisions in PGA National. And a lot of these homes in Marlwood are made of wood frame, though. Oh, this one's CBS, it says. Okay. So this sold in 2019, 700,000, and this is what it looked like. Okay. Nice deal someone got, right? 700,000? Because these homes are large, too. I think Marlwood is one of the best communities inside PGA National. So that's 700,000. Let's see what it looked like when they made 375,000 profit. Did they do anything or just buy and sell at the right time is the question, right? We'll find out. So it's a 3.5, built in 1982. Better photography. So they did some updates. Nothing outrageous though. Nope, they just made a good profit buying and selling at the right time. And not too shabby, right? Marlton. Yeah, very nice. Okay, back to my list. All right, so this closed for $1,037,000. It was purchased in 2015 at $650,000. So how do they make their $400,000 profit in 6 years? Almost 6 years. Let's see. So that's what it looked like when they bought it for $650,000. This is in Crystal Point, a gated community. Let's see. Okay. And that was when they paid $650,000 for it. Now they made their $400,000. What did they do to it, or did they just buy and sell at the right time? Let's find out. No, it looks like they just bought and sold at the right time. I mean, everything still looks the same, right? That looks like my old house. I wonder if it's the same builder. So they have a jacuzzi and a pool. Looks like a little tropical paradise, right? Nice big house for a family, right? So they got to live in this house for 4 years and made $400,000 going out. Not too shabby. You know, timing is everything. So, you know, hang tight. If you can, I would wait till after the crash and then do what this guy did. Buy it for $12 and sell it $1 million. So in 2012, they paid $400,000 for this house and then sold it at $1 million. How many years later? 9 years later. And they got to live in this awesome house for 9 years. Way to go, right? Oh, first time I saw that. Okay, you put it in a picture frame, okay. Not the greatest photography. It looks like they probably updated this house because it doesn't look very updated when they paid $400 for it. Okay, back to the history. Let's see what they did to it. All right. It doesn't look, I mean, like they put a lot of money into it. Still an old house. Is it, I want to know. This is Preston, a different community in PJ National. It's a frame house, CBS and frame. Okay. So, like, frame houses are worth so much less than CBS homes, you know, for obvious reasons, but it doesn't say. They should probably tell you the portion of the home that's CBS. Is it just the garage? I don't know. Like, I would have to know that. Anyway, let's go here. Came in place. Just under $1 million it sold for, and it was purchased at $702 in 2011. So in 10 years, they made $300,000, and they got to live in this awesome house on the island. Okay. Next one sold at $970,000. History. $676 is what they paid for it 1 year prior, and then they sold it for $970. So almost $300,000 profit in 1 year. All right, what did it look like when they bought it? It's in the sanctuary. Okay. That's when they bought it at $676, and now go to history, and when they sold it, $300,000 later. Did they put money into it or just buy and sell at the right time? Let's see. Okay, I see some updating. Good enough. Back to the list. Sedona Way. I believe that's a Mirasol. Oh no, that's, wait, here we go. Oh, Mirabella, which is part of Mirasol. So this is when they sold it at $960. Nice lakefront property. Now, don't forget, Mirasol has higher HOA too. I don't think Mirabella has a golf course buy-in fee though. It's the other Mirasol. Yeah, no membership fee required. $420 a month HOA, still not bad. But $960 is kind of high. Let's see what they paid for it. $570 in 2010. So a little over 10 years later, they made a almost $400,000 profit. And here's one, $930. It closed at $625. They paid for it 5 years prior. So $300,000 profit, and they got to live in a great house for 5 years. This one, $650 5 years ago. $925 it sold for in June. So they made a $300,000 profit on that one. And so this one closed at $540. Then they rented it out for $8,200 a month, probably in season, because nobody's going to probably pay that all year round, unless it's a really spectacular house. So $8,200 a month rental. They made their money, and now they're selling it for $895. So they made another $300,000 selling it. Should we see what it looks like? Also in PGA National. That was a good investment, right? Okay, I'm satisfied. But did it look like that when they bought it? Let's see. When they paid $540 for it, what did it look like? Bad photography. Real bad. Oh my gosh. Yeah. See, I can't tell if it's just bad photography or if they put money into the house. But big difference, right? So as an investor, we like bad photography, don't we? Yes, we do. So here's one. They paid $625 in 2017, and they closed at $875 4 years later. Okay, that's your typical profit these days. Now here's one. I think we're in Palm Beach Country Estates. They paid $422 for this house in 2016. 5 years later, $875. They doubled their money. All right, since they doubled their money, let's see what they did. What did it look like? So it's a 4-3. It looks like a CBS home. Built in 92. Photos. All right, you doubled your money on a home that's really not that bad. Okay, I bet you probably changed the kitchen up a little. But we'll see what you did. Are the mirror closets still there? Some people think that's old-fashioned, but I like mirrors because it keeps me from overeating. I'll walk past a mirror and be like, nope, you don't need to go snack now. Okay. So that's when they paid $422. History. All right, so they doubled their money. What do you think they put into this house? How much do you think they put in? Let's see. Photos. better photography. All right. Let's see if you did anything to the house or if you just changed the photography. I knew it, yeah. They put new counters in, new appliances, but not high end, I don't think. Yeah, they definitely spruced up, but I don't see big money that went into it. So that was a good investment. Oh, the bathrooms are definitely updated. If I were to guess, maybe 35,000 in updates from what I could see. But they took a 400,000 profit. Okay, back to my list. Let me get rid of this extra stuff here. Sorry about not editing, but you know, time is valuable. And eventually when you guys, you know, when I get enough subscribers and likes, then I'll invest in an editor. But content is good too, right? I do give you good content, don't I? I think so. So 2017, $635, they paid for it. Now this is, I don't know where McCain Court is. Let's see. Okay, $635, and then they sold it for $862. They made a clean 200 in 2 years. 3 years? 4 years? Okay. Oh, I do like the location. Look at that. Let's look at the photos. Oh, that must be so relaxing. You know why? Because on these canals, you get these beautiful exotic birds. My last house was on a canal, and we got these 4-foot tall blue herons, storks, spoonbills, and they'd be here like every day. And then you got this beautiful, relaxing spring here. Yeah, I could totally like this house. That's like the perfect house that I'm looking for now. All right, can I buy it? So 862. Oh, it's in Thurston, PGA National. The only thing is, I know some people like having a gate. I don't. I feel like I'm in a prison. Like I live in PGA National now. I rent a villa while I'm waiting to buy. But I feel like I have to go through 2 guarded gates. And I kind of wish I didn't have to because it just makes me feel closed in. I'm claustrophobic as it is. So, history. 862. All right, so you made a couple 100,000. Let's go to the next one. Banyan Drive. You paid $530, and then a year later, not even, you sold it for $839. So you made 300,000 profit. What did it look like when you bought it? In a year, that's a good profit. Let me see. Not even a year. Okay, so this is a country club community. I'm like, what? What's that guy doing in the kitchen? So those are all your amenities. 530. And then you sold it for $839 in less than a year. What did it look like when you sold it? So would you have it for like 8 months and you made 300,000? Let me see the photos. Nothing spectacular was done to the property. Timing is everything, isn't it? So back to my list. Now, Madison Court is in Evergreen, not a country club, but they do have good amenities. This is the one I was telling you about that has a separate clubhouse just for kids. So they paid $655. They sold it for $834. But Madison Court is like the backyard is a railroad track, and when the train goes by, your house is gonna shake. I mean, the whole house just vibrates. So did someone buy this sight unseen? I'm wondering. I mean, the last time I showed a house on Madison Court and the house started vibrating when the train went by, I was like, nope, time to go. So this is what it looked like. Unless this one is around the bend. Let's see where on the map where the train tracks are. Okay, so this is Madison Court. I don't know if that's the one. Okay, this one is away from the train tracks. I think the house that I showed on Madison Court was over here. And the train tracks are these are train tracks right here. So all the houses on Taft over here and this part of Madison Court, when the train goes by, it's crazy. Yeah, so this one is away from the track, so I can see that one selling. Always check the map for, airports, train tracks, anything that might look funky before you buy anything. And drive the neighborhood not once, but like 3 times in a day, morning, afternoon, and night, to get to know what the neighborhood is like before you buy anything. So, wow, this one was renting for $7,000 a month. They paid $409 for it in 2020. So a year later, they sold it for double. And in between, they rented it out for $7,000 a month. Interesting, right? Let's see this one. And this one is in Crystal Bay, Ballin Isles. Oh, I got it mixed up with Crystal Point. So it is a country clubhouse. Okay. See, the neighbors are just too close together there, though. Don't you think? But that makes up for it. Look at that. Oh, and the high ceilings, yes. I love high ceilings because of my claustrophobia. Nice, right? So, oh, that's $825. Detail, history. So when you bought it at $400, what did it look like? Okay. Still nice. They didn't really do much to it, and they took that $400 profit. All right. Timing is everything. They say location, location, location. I'm wondering if timing, it should be timing, location, timing. Right? All right. Go to 825. It just sold for Bermuda Lake Drive. And they paid $565 in 2014. 7 years later, they're making almost $300,000. Report. Also in Bayonne Isles. So next, Alston Road, $817. They just sold it for. Now these are new construction, so what could they possibly have done to it? We don't even need to look at the photos. We know they're new construction townhomes. So they paid $659. No, they did not. $659 expired. They couldn't sell it for $659 in August, but then the next June they were able to sell it for $817, taking advantage of this market. Now I have to just make sure that it's not. Okay, a real person. It is a real person. I just like to make sure that it's not the developer buying their own properties just to make the comps go higher. All right, so Holly Lane, 800,000. This sold for. Can we see the house or just the pool? Okay. 800,000 for this. I don't know. Okay, but let's look at the history. So, they bought it for 470,000 in 2016, and they sold it for almost double. What did it look like when they bought it? Because I wasn't impressed with the newer photos, really. But let's see. Timing is everything. Oh, that's all they're giving us. Maybe it was a fixer-upper. We don't know. All right, let me get rid of these extra windows here. Okay. So they made a, how much profit is that? $330,000 profit in 6 years. 50,000 a year. Now let's go to Marla Moore Lane. 800,000 it closed at. Oh, look at this timing. So they bought it in March for 600,000 and they sold it in August for 800,000. So they just took 200 profit in 5 months. Let's see, was it a flip? Did they do anything to it? Wait, so when they bought it at 609, this is what it looked like. Come on. $5 months. Oh, okay, nice photography. Nice property, actually. Sorry. That is a nice property. Okay. So that's when they bought it at 600,000 and the HOA was only $193 a month. History, 5 months later, they sold it for 200,000 more. And did they do anything to it or not? Let's see. No, they're not showing us. Okay. But I imagine they just bought and sold at the right time. Okay, Gardens Parkway. These high rises here. Really pretty view. Oh, this one. It's for rent for $7,000 a month. They paid $799 in June, and then they put it up for rent for $7,000 a month. But isn't that gorgeous? I go there all the time. This is so the downtown area is right in front of this lake, and they have bands and everything. Every Friday night they have bands, and the landmark are these high rises with beautiful views. The HOA is a little high though, but it's one of those concierge type condos where you can't park your own car, you have to use valet. That was the only thing I didn't like because I like to park my own car. I don't want anyone touching my car. Not that I have a great car, but it's just a germaphobe thing I have. So anyway, the HOA is $1,749 a month, but it includes a lot though. So cable, common areas, elevator, insurance building. The pool is up on the roof. I don't know if you saw it or not. But the rent is pretty high on that one, right? $7,000 a month. Could be seasonal or annual. I'm not sure. So this is in Paloma. Their townhomes, a nice development. $790 is what it just sold for. And the history is they paid $425 for this townhome in 2009. They tried to sell it at $825 in 2020, and then they sold it at $790 in 2021. Nice profit, right, for a townhome? And let's try and go through these. Thornton Drive, Palm Beach Gardens, $776. It just closed at. Let's see the history. They trying to sell it at $825. Okay, so they bought it at $482, and January they tried to sell it at $850. Didn't sell. They dropped it to $825. Didn't sell. They ended up selling at $776,000. So they still made like $300 profit. And in 4 years they made $300,000. Still very good, right? But now the buyer, after the market corrects itself and crashes or whatever it's going to do, the buyer of this home is going to be out $300,000 or more in equity. You know, so I mean, unless you have money to throw away, timing is everything. So here's Timberwood Inventory. Nice little gated community. They have an electronic gate. They're not giving us a lot of pictures, but we will see the history. They paid $435 in 2008, and then they sold it for $775 in 21. So in 6 years, they made $350. All right, let's go to Oak Knoll Drive. $770 is what it closed at. They only paid $342 for this house in 2015. Then they rented it out for $5,500 a month. So they made a profit on the rental, and then they made a profit on the sale too, over $300,000. Not too shabby, right? Now, this one is William Myers Court. They paid, what'd they pay? $455 in 2003. Tried to sell it in 2007 at $575, but it expired. Decided to rent it out at $2,500 a month. Then they just closed at $765, so they made $300,000 profit. Okay, now this is also an Evergreen Bocce Court. Sold at $760. In 2017, they bought it at $485. Trying to go faster because this is taking longer than I thought, and I don't want to take up all your time. So they paid $375 for this one, sold it for $750 in a span of 7 or 8 years. And that's in Timberwood Court in Bentry. I do like Bentry, but I'm not gonna overpay $300,000 or $400,000. Palm Court Circle. This is in Ballin Isles Country Club. $1,000 a month is the HOA. History. What? So they tried to sell it at $239,000 in 2019. On the market 225 days, couldn't sell it, but then they sold it this year at $750. So there must be some major renovations. Let's see if we could see before and afters here. All right, so you couldn't sell it at $239. Why? Was there mold in there? Come on now. What? All right, they're showing the amenities, but where's the house? Come on. Come on with the amenities. Let's see the house. Sorry about that. Hold on. And there you have it. $239. They're not showing you the house for some reason. Just this picture you're getting, right? Now let's go to history. Now, when you sold it at $750, what did it look like? Pretty much the same, right? So, looking at this history, I'm kind of hoping that we have a major crash so I can buy a nice home like that for only $239. I don't know if that'll happen, but this is some history. Look at that. They were selling it at $799 in 2000. Then $374 in 2002. That is some strange history. Anyway, back to my list. So this home, $570 in 2015, closed at $745 in 2021. And that is in Paloma. Then you have Bentry, which is near Paloma, $740. It sold out. The asking price was $725, so I guess people were bidding on it, as usual in this market. So they paid $515 less than 2 years ago. So 2 years ago, they paid $515, and then they sold it for $740. So they made over $100,000 a year, and they also got to live in this nice home. Timing is everything. Now you got $200,000 to add to your retirement fund. Hopefully you don't have to buy something else right away, because you're going to end up overpaying unless you wait for the crash, right? Like I'm doing. I want more money to retire on, so I'm not going to buy now. So here's a nice home. Oh, this is in the Isles. History. They bought it for $355 in 2011. 10 years later, they sold it for $725, making almost $400,000. Now here's one on Madison Court again. I want to know if this one's by the railroad tracks, because, all right, they bought it at $445, sold it at $723. All right, let me look at this map. Because Madison Court, as we looked before, see this 811, that's the railroad tracks there. So did somebody buy this like sight unseen? And when they get there, they're going to hear the train go by and the house shake? Want to see, yeah, right by the railroad tracks. This is the railroad tracks. The house is going to vibrate every time a train goes by. But in this desperate market, they were willing to pay $723,000 for that house. So almost $300,000 more than the original buyer of the house. Yeah, nope. I think somebody's going to be disappointed. So anyway, Eagleton Lane, $720. It sold for. So somebody made a clean $100,000 profit from 18 to 2021. Okay. This is back in Evergreen, $597. In 19, 2 years later, sold for $700,000. So a clean $100,000 in 2 years. Here's another one. And looks like it was a rental for $8,500 a month for many years. And they just sold it for $700,000. Just curious. I want to know what the tax situation is here. Oh, So all those years they were renting it out, and they had the nerve to take the tax exemption for homesteading the property. Uh-oh. Look at all these years they had it as a rental, and they took $75,000 a year in tax credit, claiming it was a homesteaded home. Not good. Wait till the tax office catches you. Uh-oh. See no evil, hear no evil. Okay, Bentry Drive. Here we go. History. They paid $427 in 2014. 7 years later, they sold it for $699. So 350. Wait, how much is that profit? No. Oh my gosh. 200 and something. This is also an Evergreen. They paid $410 in 2014. 7 years later, they sold it for $699. Almost $300,000 profit. And then you have Master's Way back in PGA National. $370 they paid for this house in 2016, and then they sold it for $699 5 years later. Trying to move along a little faster here. Kelsey Park, $290 they paid for this house. 10 years later, $650,000. Please, these are all cookie cutter homes. What could they have done to them? Probably nothing, because the HOA doesn't allow you to do anything on those type of homes. So that was a nice one, right? $360,000 profit on a townhome or a villa, whatever it is. So this one, $479. They bought it for in 17. 4 years later, they sold it for $642. And that is also in the same Oaks development. Now, Bayonne Drive. I know this house, I think. It might be wood frame, too. A lot of people get turned off from wood frame because you're going to pay higher insurance. Oh, no, this one's block. Okay. I know others in that development that are wood frame, so block is good. So what did we say the history was on this one? They paid $453, sold it for $640 6 years later. Okay. Coventry Place in PGA National. They paid $280. Get out of here. Come on. It's only a matter of 7 months. They flipped the house from $280,000 to $630,000 in 7 months. All right, we have to see pictures. All right, so this is what it looked like when they paid $280 for it. There better be mold in here, or you are price gouging. Bad photography. We like that as investors. Bad colors. Bright green kitchen. We like that too, don't we? Cheap counters. Okay. But still, you bought yourself a good investment here because it doesn't cost a lot to change all this. Okay, now, what did they do to it to make such a huge profit? History. Now, what did we say? 7 months they made this huge profit? Crazy, right? So here's your, wow. Nice, right? Professional home flippers bought this house. They did a great job. So they probably made like 200,000 or 300,000 profit on this in only 7 months, because they know how to make a place look nice. That's for sure. Okay, back to the list. Hidden Hollow. $625. They paid $399 in 17. 4 years later, they sold it for $625. Cross Point Court. They paid $199. 3 years later, sold it for $620. That's incredible, right? So you made $400,000 in 3 years. You probably want to see the pictures on this one, right? Okay, so let's look at the before. At $199. Oh, they're only giving us the outside photo. Too bad. All right, back to history. Oh, it's in East Point. East Point's a nice little country club. People don't like that they have to pay that $4,500 a year membership fee, though. But it's a nice little country club if you're going to use the amenities. But now with COVID, do people really use the amenities? I don't know. So, okay, here we are. $269, they paid for it in 2013. $620, they just sold it for. Nice investment, right? Nice neighborhood too. That's Frenchman's Landing. Yeah, is it frame? Some of those homes are. Oh, this one's CVS. Okay. So here's one. $615 at Frenchman's Reserve. It just sold for $615. The HOA is very high here, $931 a month, but it's a country club, so you get what you pay for. Oh, okay. So they bought it in 2012 at $390. They sold it at $615, and then the buyer just put it up for rent for $10,000 a month. So could be maybe he doesn't want to live in it yet, and he wants to rent it out during the season, or that could be a yearly rental. Kind of curious. Do you get $10,000 on a seasonal rental or a yearly rental over there? Because I know it is a posh country club. Annual. Wow. All right. So somebody's gonna make themselves $120,000 on 1 year rent. That's not a bad deal. So you bought it for $615. You're gonna make $120,000, which is gonna pay for your. That's gonna pay for your buy-in. Is there a buy-in here? I think there is. You have to buy into the golf course, I think, right? Oh, I'm looking at the rental. That's why it's not showing. So you're gonna collect $120,000 the first year, and your buy-in is $150,000. So there's an idea. You buy a house, rent it out for a year, and let the tenant pay for your golf membership buy-in, and then you move in. Right? There's a strategy. Okay, Pumpkin Drive. These are little cookie cutter homes in Evergreen. So someone paid $345 for it and sold it for $615. Also in Evergreen, someone paid $400, sold it for $607. That one was only over 3 years. This is in Palm Beach Country Estates. They paid $264 for this home in 2010. They couldn't sell it for $429 in 2018, but in 2021 they were able to get $605 for it. Wow, right? $390 in 19, sold it for $600 in 2021. On this one, Frenchman's Reserve. So this is why investors that are smart don't have to work. So here's in the Oaks. They paid $375 in 2008, sold it for $600 in 2021. Now here's the Hunt Club. They paid $330 for it in 2014, sold it for $600 in 2021. And here's one. They paid $410 in 2018, sold it for $595 in 2021. We're getting close to the end. Trying to go faster. So here's Cosmo Street, they paid $390, sold it for $580 in a matter of 3 years. Victoria Bay Court, they paid $326 in 2014. 7 years later, they sold it for $575. Now this is in Coral Cay. They paid $420 in 19, sold it for $568 in 21. Here's one. They couldn't sell it for $434 in 19, but they sold it for $539 in 21. Resort Lane. Look at these high rentals. Wow. So they bought it for $418, and then they were renting it out for $3,000 a month, $2,800 a month, $12,000 a month, probably in season. You know, seasonal renters are like 4 times the amount, and then $7,000 a month, and then so they made a killing on rent, and then they sold it and made $100,000 plus on the sale too. Now Saint-Tropez Circle, they paid $279, and then 19 years later, $530. They sold it for. Too many years in between to make it an event. So $375 purchased in 2020, and then 1 year later they sold it for $520 at Saint-Tropez Circle. Here's one in Country Estates in Palm Beach Gardens. They paid $185 and they sold it for $520, 10 years apart. Here's one, Resort Lane. They paid $479. No, they couldn't get $479 in 2020, but they sold it for $515 in 21. November Street back to Evergreen. A lot of those have sold over the past month, right? So they closed at $359, sold it for $515, 5 years apart. Canterbury. This one baffles me because I actually went to see that house and I couldn't see the price, but somebody bought it. They paid $370 in 2019, and then they sold it for $509 less than 2 years later. Woodview Circle, they paid $285 in 2003, sold it for $500. And that's the end of our list. We made it to the end. Is anyone still with me? Let me know, because this one was a long one and I don't want to bore you, but I try and get in as much content as possible, try and be helpful. So can you click the like button if you're still with me? All right, I appreciate it, and let's talk soon, okay? Let me know if there's something that you want to see, and I'll put it in the next video, okay? Thanks a lot. Talk soon. Bye.